Hello, everyone, and this is Chop It Up Hoops with your pal Sal. And today we have our special guest here, T Mac, Travis McConico. What's going on, Travis?
Nothing much, nothing much. I appreciate you for thinking to have me on here. I think this is the first episode, so I'm excited. I'm sure you are as well.
Well, actually, I've been putting episodes and videos up online on YouTube. It's Chop It Up Hoops with your pal Sal. Put a
Okay.
few videos up in there where I'm just talking about basketball, whether it's from the NBA to just general topics like LeBron James and a couple Hall of Famers starting to enjoy the game of pickleball. So
hmm
just stuff like that. And once again, you're my first video podcast. So this is definitely an opportunity for us to just talk to each other. And you could tell the topic today is the pros and cons of playing pro basketball overseas. A little bit about yourself and how you got into playing basketball and your background.
well, as I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, born and raised. Went to Neptune Beach, at the beach. Went to Landmark Middle School. Went to Sandwood.
Can you kind of talk a little bit more about your personal experiences? Like what truly sticks out when you were young that allowed you to kind of take a liking to the game?
Well, I was one of those kids, that played multiple sports growing up. So, I played basketball. I played soccer for a little bit. I played some football, ran track, baseball, skateboarding. I played all these different sports, and basketball has just always been, the one sport that's just, had my heart from the beginning. I feel like I've always kind of excelled the most to say at basketball. I feel like I was always that was my best sport that I played. And then that's just where like the love started. And then going from playing in upward leagues at the beaches, playing middle school basketball, Landmark Middle School, and then going on to play high school. And um, I don't know, it's just always been my first love. And then especially when I got in my dirt bike accident, I kind of was like, okay, I should probably focus solely on basketball instead of these other sports that probably aren't going to benefit me in the long run. So that's when I started.
Relationship, growing up at the beach, and I know that there are other distractions as far as surfing, let's say just enjoying beach life. It can be a little bit laid back. So playing basketball or any kind of sports that kind of keeps you active, those
Mhm.
are the things that you gravitated to that allowed you to excel in this sport? Who essentially gave you that love for playing the game?
I want to say my dad. I mean, from the time I can remember, like I said, he was my first coach. He was the person that put the first basketball in my hands. He was the person taking me to and from practices. Taking me to the park and dropping me off for 4 or 5 hours, and leaving me at the park with a basketball. And just telling me just to shoot around. And that's where, like I said, that's where that love started. That's where the journey began really, and just realizing like, okay, this is what I love doing. Because like I said, I'd be at the park for hours on end, just with a basketball, no food, no drinks, no nothing, no friends, sometimes even just me and a basketball, just shooting around
And a
in,
water fountain, right?
in a water fountain. Yep. And I'd be content. I mean, that'd be a
Well, that's awesome, and there are things that we gravitate to through life, and I'd have to say that, one of the main reasons that I started this channel was because I love the game of basketball,
mm,
and it was just something that I felt like I wanted to share with those around me and those far, far away. And as you can
hmm
see, I'm here in Jacksonville, Florida, and you're actually in Sweden. What part of Sweden are you in?
I'm in a small town called Shipping. Um, Probably it's more south, more southern Sweden, about an hour away from Stockholm.
Okay. How do you like it there so far?
It's nice. It's a really small town. It's definitely, not what I'm used to, but like as far as everything your needs and your wants, we have restaurants here. It's a small town. The basketball community here is really good. We have gym access, so it's been really humbling, but at the same time, I'm enjoying it. We're getting to that period where it's about to start getting really dark and it's getting colder. So just prepare for the winter.
Okay. Well, why don't you try and give us a brief background of some of the areas that you've played for, or the teams you played for overseas?
So back in 2020, right before, oh, I should okay. Go ahead and I guess I'll count the Jacksonville Giants. So when I graduated college, I had signed with an agent, and I thought I was with this agent, and by the time basketball season came around, I thought I was gonna, be signing to play my first, season overseas, and things didn't really go that way, that I expected, So I was at home around September and October, and all these people were leaving, to go play basketball overseas for their first seasons. And my agent wasn't responding to me. I didn't get any jobs, so I ended up staying in Jacksonville my first year and playing semi-pro in the ABA with the Jacksonville Giants, which was actually a great experience. It taught me a lot. It really humbled me. I was around a really good group of guys and some really good players. So it wasn't the worst situation, but it was my situation. Um, and that was in 2019. And then we got around to like almost the end of the season. I think it was February. I had signed with a new agent, and he actually got me my first job in Malta, which is, if you guys don't know, Malta is a really really small island right south of Italy, and I had no idea where it was when I signed. I didn't know it was a country itself. I had no idea where it was, so this was all new to me. So I want to say the beginning of March, I planned on going to Malta. I got out there. I played one game, and then this is in 2020, right when COVID started. So I played one game. I was out there for a total of 18 days. They sent me home. Well, they sent everybody home. That was the whole lockdown, and COVID was bad and everything. And then, it was the shutdown. And then so after that, I ended up going back to Malta the next season. Things were, COVID was still around, so things were still pretty strict. But we ended up having a season. Went out there, played 10 games in 7 months, and then they ended up canceling the playoffs because of COVID. So that was kind of a bummer. That was my first official season, I guess you can say, playing professional. And then the next year after that, I actually ended up getting a job in the first division in Finland. I was in a small city called Espoo in Finland, and I played there last season.
Now,
Um,
before you get started with Finland, let's talk. I know Malta. I'm Puerto Rican, so the only Malta
mhm.
the only Malta we know is the one we drink. So,
Right, right.
and I know Malta. There's a couple of Miss Universes that came from Malta, so I know that there's a lot of good, fun people there.
Mhm.
The people are probably pretty awesome there, and
Yeah.
I know that you told me that you were housed with an American basketball player there.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, how was it with you guys? I mean, how was it in Malta before we segue into Finland? Why don't you
Mhm.
tell us how it was, the food, the different types of the people there, and so forth?
Malta, it was a different experience, and it was really fun. I enjoyed my time there. The people there were really, really welcoming and nice. Basketball isn't the biggest sport in Europe, so and it definitely wasn't the biggest sport in Malta. So you had soccer or football. They had water polo. Basketball was the last most important or popular sport to say in Malta. But the basketball community and the people who were involved in the basketball community were really welcoming. The food was really good. They were on like a Mediterranean diet. It's actually a pretty cheap country to live in. So, I mean, I was eating really good when I was out there. I was eating really good. It's actually a beautiful place to be. It's a very small island. It's probably about half the size, if that, of Jacksonville. And so you go 5 miles east or west, north or south, and you're at a beach, And
What was
so
your
it was,
favorite thing to eat there, Travis? Or
oh
T
man,
Mac, should I say?
T Mac, yep. I
Not the
mean,
Tracy McGrady, right? But the T Mac, Travis
nah,
McConico.
Travis McConico, just to be, just to be clear. I want to say my favorite Maltese dish had to be cannelloni. It's almost like lasagna, but it's way better than lasagna. It's
That's Italian, man. I'm Italian too. Puerto Rican
yeah,
and
that's what
Italian. Cannelloni is just like these long tubes with ricotta
yeah,
cheese and mozzarella and
yeah,
some sauce in there.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And you can add meat if you want to, but it doesn't even. I mean, like you said, you don't have to add it. But it was really, really good. They had really good kebab there too. I mean, the kebab was really good, and it was cheap. I mean, it was €5, and you get either a big old wrap of kebab, or you
Mm.
get a full plate of kebab. So
I'm glad I
food
ate
there was
lunch
great.
before we did this podcast because I would be end up being hungry. I might have had to pause this to go grab a bite to eat, Travis.
Yeah, I almost I just finished eating dinner myself. I almost was about to eat while we were on the podcast. I was so hungry.
Well, if you have to stop and grab some chips right next to you, don't hesitate, okay?
I got you. I got you.
So let's move on to Finland. I know that you said Malta and then you segued onto Finland. Tell us a little bit more about moving to that particular. I know moving from there's different levels in FIBA basketball and European
Mhm.
basketball. So why don't you, before you talk about Finland, or as you segue to Finland, let's talk about the different levels. So Malta was a certain level of basketball, then you moved to Finland, which is another level.
Correct, correct. So Malta, like I said, basketball wasn't big there. It's I would say if you're a first year professional, trying to get your career started, Malta is a decent place to be, a decent country to go to because they take good care of you. Like I said, the basketball community is welcoming. You're gonna have gym access, all that stuff. But moving up to Finland, I wasn't even when I went to Finland, I wasn't in the highest division when I went there. I was actually in the second highest, which was called the first division. The highest division is the Korsliga. Um, so it was a step up from Malta, but it's still it's a lower level. Probably one of the beginner levels for most rookies. Second year pros, guys like that. Um, but the club I was with was really professional. Um, they had been in the top league before, but they had got relegated back down to first division due to budget problems and it's just things that teams go through over here. They go up and down. So um, we actually ended up winning the championship last year, and now they're back in the top league, which is really good for them. So
Isn't it great? Isn't it great that you had something to do with that? I mean, we talk about relegations all the time when we're talking about football or soccer because you always got teams that might be in the Premier League and then they get relegated down to minor league and then so forth. There's different relegations when it comes to that, and you have
yeah.
to kind of work your way up, back
Mhm.
up to get to the top tier leagues. So when we're talking about basketball in Europe, we're talking about Greece, Germany,
Mhm.
uh, Spain. So we got Real Madrid, right?
Mhm.
Barcelona. We got Panathinaikos in Greece. We got
Mhm.
those different, and then you also looking in Serbia.
Mhm.
You got some of those other teams in Bosnia, Serbia, and so forth. And I've seen some of those fans, and it's insane. I mean, they let people have fireworks and
Mhm.
pretty much
Flare the
smoke
flares.
bombs.
They
That's
just
what they
hold.
call flares.
Yeah, they're like
So
flares
it's
in the
it's
crowds.
crazy when you see those things, and they're like some of the loudest fans, and they have a passion for their clubs there. So why don't you
Mhm.
tell us a little bit, like for instance, Finland, and with your particular league you were
Mhm.
in, and the fans, and how it was there.
So when I first got there, the year before I got there, they were 8-14, I want to say. Had a really down year, and when I got there, we weren't, like I said, we weren't expected to do as well as we were. So about halfway through the season, I think we finished the first half of the season. We were maybe 10-2, I think I want to say, and we were tied for first in the league. And at this point, this is when my coach and even the owners and the GMs of the team were kind of like, they started thinking, okay, maybe we can move back up to the chorus league, but if we do, it's going to be, a quick thing because like I said, we're already halfway through the season and they didn't plan on moving up. So at the beginning of the season, there wasn't many fans at the game. I mean, we might have had maybe 200, 250 people at our games, and most of them, half of them are kids, that are part of the club who play for the younger, junior clubs. But they're great. They were great. That was one of my favorite things about playing there last year. The kids were so into the game, and that they look up to you like you're in the NBA almost. You're their superstar. After the games, they're asking to take pictures with you, asking you to sign their basketballs, even if they already have your signature 100 times on one. They just look up to you, and it's really cool just to see you help them kind of fuel their passion and their love for the game at such a young age. But as the season went on, more and more fans started coming to games because we started winning. And then we got into the playoffs. And by the time the playoffs came, I mean, we had, I think in the second round, we must have had close to, or probably even more than 1,000 people showing up to the game. So we more than quadrupled, the attendance from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. And the fans were great. I mean, they were loud. They were enthusiastic. They were very welcoming. They weren't really judgmental. It just felt like home when I was there. It was really welcoming, really loving, and it was a fun place to play at. It almost felt
Winning makes everything better, doesn't it?
yeah, and
It
that's
just
what they tell me.
everybody wants to be around the winner. So,
Yeah,
like you
yeah,
said, when you were playing for Tonka over there in Finland, all of a sudden, like you said, they were 8-14. You
mhm,
come, you bring an energy that only Americans can bring, buddy. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
So
yeah,
only Americans can bring that energy, that swag, that that stank about them. You know what I mean? That
yeah, yeah,
basically,
definitely.
yeah, that most Europeans are a little bit more humble on. Like I noticed that. Like I was watching FIBA this year, and I was watching the FIBA championships, and I was
Mhm,
watching EuroBasket. I was watching Asia Basket. I was watching the America, and I noticed that there's they always allow an American player on their team to play for them.
mhm,
And I was watching some of the teams there, and the ones that play in the NBA that are playing now that came back to represent their company in say
mhm,
EuroBasket or the
mhm.
Euro Cup, they just got a swag about them.
Yeah,
Even when you
definitely.
look at Arvejo, who plays for the DC Wizards, or you
Mhm,
look at Luka Doncic, or you look at Porzingis. You look at all these guys, and they're playing for their perspective teams. At the
mhm.
same time, though, they have that swag about them that you can only get playing in America. You
Right,
know,
right.
I mean, in FIBA, you have that guy who can live in the paint, right?
Mhm.
In Europe, they
On defense,
basically
on
they're on
defense, yeah.
defense. They there's no defensive 3 second like there is in
Mhm,
America. So it's just amazing watching them play and watching the fans. Like these fans are going bananas out there,
mhm.
man. They're going crazy for these guys, and it's great when you see the pride they have representing their country. And sometimes I feel like with even with the NBA, even though they play the USA, they're playing for the dream team. It's no longer like that American pride kind of thing or the American
Yeah.
representation that they have. It's more about they're playing for each other
Mhm,
versus like when Luca lost in like the semifinals before the championship game, he
mhm,
said, you know, I let my country down.
mhm.
And that's something that you'll see a lot more in Europe and South America and so forth. But, once again, I think it's that individualism that we're taught here in America, and it allows us to have that individual personality, but at the same time, it can be a crutch, and you lose that kind of like American pride that you generally have, that generally you see a lot of the other countries have. Let's talk a little bit more about that.
Sorry. Say it again, Sal. Sorry, the last part.
Let's just talk a little bit more about that, like with America, there's more of that individualism,
Mhm.
that to be you have your own style of play. Like
Yeah.
Travis has his own style of play. You
Mhm.
know, I myself, even though I'm a little bit older, I might have my own style of play.
Yeah.
But like when you go to like play in Europe, it's like a
Mhm.
team dynamic
Yeah.
versus in America, there's always that one or two stars on the team that basically drive everyone else. So
Right.
let's talk a little bit more of that comparison from playing overseas versus playing here in the States.
Well, like you said, in the States, it's very superstar heavy. Every team has to have a superstar, and you notice the best teams in the NBA, they either have a superstar or multiple superstars. Even the best teams, and it's not that way in Europe, or at least it's not looked at. I feel like in Europe, it's more so like you said, the best teams win. The team that's the most rounded, the team that has the most depth. There's very rare teams that have a superstar, that's a domestic player in their country. So, and if they are, like you said, it's the guys that are playing in the NBA. It's the Luka Doncic, It's the Nikola Jokic. They're playing at the highest level. But even when they go back, they're still doing things to make their team better. They're not so much. They are the superstar, but they do it with the guys around him. Like if you guys watched Luca play in FIBA, he's
Mm.
making these Slovenians, look like way better than they are with him than they are without him. Because
Yeah,
I watched
definitely
him
when he was
play a
playing
couple
for
times.
Slovenia, he definitely
Mhm.
made it to where he was making a lot of those guys just look really, really well. And
Yeah,
that's the thing, man. When they play like a team, you're like, I can't believe these guys aren't playing in the NBA. But
right.
the thing is because the dynamic in Europe or in
Mm,
Asia or in South America, FIBA wise, is totally different from
yeah,
how they're taught to play in the United States.
right,
So that's probably why
right.
their game would probably not even translate over here. But yet they can go and play in Europe and they can probably drop 20 points a game. They can play in China, they can drop 20 points a game. But
Mm.
here that wouldn't be the case.
Yeah, I would say they could. I think the Europeans could definitely succeed. Like if they come or they go to play in the States. I feel like they're more so like glue guys. Like I feel like Europeans are very easy to play with if you know how to play the game the right way. So like you might not have like a European come to the States and be a superstar, but he's going to know how to play the right way with everybody. He's going to fit in. He's going to have camaraderie with everybody just because, like you said, they play team basketball. They're used.
You were in Finland. You were talking
Mhm.
about how well the European players are playing. And let's talk about the players in Honka, the team members you had at Honka in Finland, and how you were able to bring those young players into, coming and gather, bringing them together because, like you said,
Mhm.
last year, the year before that, they were 8-14, and then
Yeah.
lo and behold, you guys win a championship the next year. So let's talk more
Mhm.
about that.
Yeah. So we had a really really young team at the time. I played with, I think we had two starters that were 17. We had another starter that was 18. And then another teammate that was 20 years old, and then there was me. So and then everybody off the benches, in their teens, 17, 18, 19 years old. So we were really a really young team, but it was really the energy everybody brought. They never really got down on themselves. Everybody showed up to the gym on time. I mean, even as kids, you could tell they just had a different type of maturity about themselves. They were very professional at such a young age. Showing up to workouts on time, never being late, putting in extra work on off days. I mean, these kids were some of the hardest working kids I've ever played with. Um, very mature, and they all knew how to play the game. They all understood how to play team basketball very very well. Um, and and another thing, that they didn't really have egos. They all accepted their roles and even excelled at what they did. If we had a big man that was maybe not the biggest, but he would just play hard, and if you told him to go grab 10 rebounds, he's going to go get you 10 rebounds. If you have a young guy that we needed to play defense, he's going to go, tries harder to play defense. Even if he gets scored on a couple of times, it doesn't really bother him. He just keeps going. And that was really the story for us the whole season. We never really got down. We never really argued. It was just like the camaraderie was there. The love for each other was there. The passion to win was there. Um, and I felt like I played.
I think when it comes to basketball though, Trav, it's all about building that chemistry too,
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
understanding that you do have everybody with all these skills and they're
Hmm.
really good at playing the game of basketball. It's just also a chemistry thing because if you got a person who's just not willing to buy in, it's going to
Hmm.
make it hard. It's going to make for a long season
Right.
versus if you got everybody who is willing to buy in. So, but that starts with the coach. So tell me
Mhm.
what the coach was like and
Oh
what
man.
the coach was actually saying to you guys, especially with you, Travis, because you're probably the oldest guy you're probably one of the elder guys on the team, even
Yep.
though you're 25, 20, how old are you, Travis? 26 years old. So,
25.
eh, yeah, 25 years old. So you got to understand, you're trying to coach up 17-year-olds
Hmm.
that are just breaking into the pro leagues up there. And that's the thing
Hmm.
about USA versus pro. These guys that are 17, 18 are they're either finishing up high school or they're finishing up prep ball or they're going right into college
Yep.
versus there they go to all these uh uh basketball academies.
Hmm. Yep. And you, I mean, you said it. Like I want to say everybody on our team, besides with the exception of three people, we're going to school every day, in high school every day. So they were going to class every day, and then coming to practice in the evening, showing up to morning practices before school. Even they were just so accustomed to being pros at such an early age, uh, and I didn't really understand it at first. It was kind of weird to me, but like you said, my coach, he was really I mean, he impacted me a lot. My time over there. He taught me a lot. He taught me how to not just play basketball, but how to deal with people. How to deal with my teammates. How to be a better leader. And he really got me to understand more so where they come from and how they react to things, how they work. How to speak to them, when to speak to them, stuff like that. And I mean, my coach, he was probably my favorite part about going over there. I feel like a lot of my growth, came from him just being so invested in us as a team and even me myself as a player. Because my first 6 months over there, I was the only American. We didn't get another American until I want to say January, the end of January, beginning of February. So for
And
four
that was the
months,
guy from the G League, right?
yeah, we had my friend, my teammate Devin Whitfield. He played at Lincoln Memorial, was an All American, D2 All American, and he played his first couple months in the G League with the Memphis Hustle, and then
And
came over
Lincoln
to play.
Memorial is a powerhouse. If those who don't know, is a powerhouse in D2. So
Yeah, definitely very good school. I want to say his record when he was there was they were 32-1 his senior year, something like that. And that
they could be probably some mid-major D1 schools if they
yeah,
wanted to.
I want to say in the upcoming future, next couple of years, they will be a Division 1 school. They'll
That's
move
good.
up to Division 1 for sure. But yeah, like I said, my
Well,
coach was
Travis,
strict.
go ahead.
Sorry, go
Talk
ahead.
about your coach more.
No, I mean it was just all the extra stuff he did for me. The extra film sessions. Um, being in the gym, putting us through workouts every day. We didn't have like an assistant coach or a group staff who came in there and rebounded for us. He was in there rebounding for us every day. Putting us through our own workouts, and I feel like that's really what got us better.
Kind of like me, Travis, with coaching
Yeah,
middle school
yeah,
basketball. I got to do it all. So
exactly,
sweep up and pick up the towels afterwards too, huh?
exactly.
So I know that you got, like you said, y'all won a championship last year, and
Hmm.
you're wondering where you're going to play because your contract is up.
Hmm.
What did Honka do to maybe did they sweeten the pot? Did they offer to bring you back? Did they give you maybe a little bit more money on your contract, or were other areas of Europe kind of calling?
So when we finished the season last year, that was actually like my bonus to say for winning the championship was the fact that I had a guaranteed contract to go back to Honka if they move up to the Course Liga, which like I said earlier, they ended up moving up, and I did actually have a guaranteed contract to go back, and my coach wanted me to come back. Um, but I ended up signing with a new agent as well in the off season, so that kind of played a part in it. And after I signed my new agency, I asked them, to look for, obviously new countries or new places to play. Because I mean, the goal is always to move up, keep moving up levels and try to, maximize your potential.
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, we play basketball to make money,
Yep.
to
And
you
there's a
know,
certain window for an athlete. There's a certain window you have to actually get as much as you can before
mhm,
you get too old. So it's definitely something where you got to go where the money is.
right.
Well, here's a fun fact. I knew that you're in Sweden, so
Mhm.
I heard that close to 80% of people speak English pretty good in Sweden. So tell me more about that and how that made it a little bit easier probably for you to transition with your new teammates.
Definitely, definitely, yeah. It makes a huge difference because last year in Finland, as much as I love my teammates, as much as I loved my coaches and everything, there was not a huge language barrier, but they didn't really speak fluent English. They didn't feel comfortable speaking English all the time. So there was like that kind of a little bit of a barrier, there with the language. But here in Sweden, I was very, very shocked at how well all my teammates speak, like almost flawless English. And give or take, most of them have played basketball in the States before, so maybe that plays a little bit of a part in it. But for the most part, they all speak, I mean, English almost with an American accent. You wouldn't even know that they spoke Swedish until they actually do speak Swedish.
Well, that's really cool because I
Hmm.
know I watched a couple of your games. I watched like four when the playoffs started. I started really getting into the games again
Hmm.
when that Honka was playing. So,
Hmm.
uh, moving to a higher league, the venues are bigger.
Hmm.
Have you had watched any video as far as how the fans are where you're gonna be playing and stuff like that? Maybe who's your rival team that they're telling you that we gotta beat? Because there's always a rival team, right?
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
a
definitely.
it's always the Knicks in Miami, right? Here it's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Knicks in Miami, or the LA Lakers and the Boston Celtics, right?
Right,
So we
right.
want to basically, or maybe the cross Texas rivalry with the San Antonio Spurs and the Dallas Mavericks and so forth. That's
Hmm.
that interstate rivalry right there. So
Right.
we want to basically find out here in the States, in Sweden, what are have they told you this? Have they pointed at the calendar and said this is a team we got to beat?
No, we haven't. It might have something to do with because last year that they had a down year. They weren't as competitive maybe as we will be this year. But me, so I'm a basketball junkie, so I've been doing my research and I've been marking teams, that just from film,
I know you have,
that
man.
that I just am excited to play and definitely want to beat. And I got some rivalries that I've created on my calendar and on my schedule. Um, and most of them top teams in the league that I just want to kind of beat just to kind of I don't know I just create
The
that
bar's got to be up here, Travis. It's got
yeah,
to be way up
exactly.
here. You know what I mean? You got to
Exactly.
set the bar high, especially for your team.
Right.
Hey, they if they've done their research on you, they know where you
Hmm.
come from. They know that
Right.
of course, Honka was 8-14. Then you
Hmm.
jump on that team, you and another player from America, and
Yep.
you guys basically turn the team around, and you carry
Yeah.
them on your back. You carry that team on your back. You show the maturity that it takes to lead a team. And if I know you right now, can you tell us the name of your team you're playing for in Sweden right now?
Yeah.
What's it
We're
called
called
again?
Shipping Stars. Koping Stars.
Okay, so you guys are the Stars. So
Hmm.
if I know you, you know, you kind of got that alpha mentality, Travis. So,
Yeah.
and I'm sure the guys see that, but at the same time, are there any other Americans on the team, or is it just you right now, like it was first in Honka?
No, it's actually there's four of us, so it's me and three other Americans.
Okay. And are they from the East Coast, or are they more all over, scattered from all over?
No, so we're kind of scattered, I guess. We actually have one American who's from Jacksonville.
Really?
Um,
Do
yeah,
I know him, Jacksonville? Do I know him?
you might. His name's Keyshawn Curry. He went to Jackson,
Okay.
and then he played 4 years at VCU.
Okay.
So, and I played against him in high school. I've known him for a while, so we are good friends and we're very close.
All right. So
But
y'all got a
yeah,
little dynamic going there. So that's
yeah, we
always
got
good to know.
we got the Duval chemistry going on in the league.
We might need to get him on this,
For sure,
chopping up
for
hoots.
sure.
I can get us multiple looks so that everybody can give a little insight as far as what they want going on, especially representing Jacksonville,
Yeah,
Florida.
definitely, definitely. But yeah, it's both of us are from Jacksonville. We have another teammate, Q, our center slash power forward. He's from Birmingham, Alabama.
Hmm.
So he, big country. And then we have Jawan Gray. He's from, I want to say, New Hampshire, somewhere really, really far up north. I forgot what
He's from New
exactly.
England, huh?
So somewhere up to Delaware, one of those really high up there. And
Okay.
but we played his college basketball at Townsend. So he
Okay.
went. I want to say that's in Philly, is it not?
Is it the Towson, Townsend?
Yeah, yeah,
Townsend
Townsend.
College? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. He played his basketball, but he's from up, northeast. So we're all
Mhm.
technically, I guess, from the East Coast. Um, Really great group of guys, though. I mean, they're great guys. Great teammates, and even great, better people off the court. So we really get along well.
What about the teammates that you have that are locals from Sweden?
Yeah, we had kind of like our egos and our characters kind of clashing at first. Just kind of getting used to people. Just like all grown men. If you go into a work environment, you might not get along with somebody the first day. You might have you have to build trust and rapport. So first couple weeks, there was definitely some egos clashing. Some personalities colliding, all that good stuff that comes with the game. But now, I mean, I feel like we've really come a long, long way, just kind of, understanding that, we are different.
So when's your first game and who are you playing against?
We're 4-2 right now. I want to say we're
Oh,
well into the season. Yeah, we actually play our next game this Saturday away at Sadatelia.
okay. So which do you figure are the top teams in other than the shipping stars?
Hmm.
Which do you figure to be the top teams in your league this year?
Well, we have a team called Norrköping. So I guess you can say they're kind of, I guess, our rivals because the names are similar and they're not too
Hmm.
far from us. But the Norrköping Dolphins, I think they're back-to-back champs of the league. So they're a league favorite right now. They're pretty tough. They got a really good group of guys, good domestic players and good Americans. Um, then you have BC Luleå, which is really far up north. That's actually the team that Ladarian, another Jacksonville guy, plays for.
Yep.
Um, their team's pretty good.
So
Uh,
Ladarian Griffin's playing with in Sweden this year.
yeah, that was actually our first regular season game of the year this year
How did
against them.
how did y'all fare with that against them?
It was actually a pretty. I mean, I guess it was a good and bad game. We didn't think we would be that good, so we were actually beating them. I want to say the entire second half of the game, and
You weren't surprised, were you? Was the team surprised, or
they
were?
they I think the team was surprised. I wasn't surprised at all. Like you said, I have that mentality that that I don't think they understand over here yet. That we are going to be competitive. We are going to finish top in a top place in the league. And like I said, we come from two different backgrounds, so maybe the other guys on the team don't understand that, don't believe it yet. But me personally, like, I feel like we can beat anybody in this league. So we came out that game, first game of the season, and it was at their place, and we're beating them the whole second half. And I want to say it was 12 seconds left. We were up three, and we ended up giving up a three in the corner by a guy who isn't even the best shooter, but he just had a good game. He ended up
That's
knocking
it.
it down. We go to overtime, and that kind of home crowd energy just kind of carried over to overtime, and they beat us. I want to say like 5 points or
Kind
something
of like
like
the
that.
last game in Honka, right? You guys went into overtime in that
Hmm.
championship game, and you guys
Yep.
kind of turned it up. And
Yep.
it's always good to have the crowd in your on your back. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Definitely.
The
The
crowd
crowd's
cheering.
crazy.
It's just like
Yeah.
gives you that extra energy that you need to get
Yeah.
through. Like you said, you've been playing the whole game, and all of a sudden now you got to play overtime, extra minutes,
Right.
and that's more taxing on your body. It's just
Right.
the fans don't understand that if you're in basketball shape, you're in the best shape of your life,
Right.
because
Right.
of all the minutes that you put in. So, speaking of minutes, how are you doing in the rotation and so forth? Are you starting? Are you working your way up? How's it working right now?
Right now, I've started every game since I've been over here. Um, I'm starting at the two, and then we have a point guard, and when he subs out, I play the 1-2.
Okay.
So I've mostly been playing really the one this year. Kind of, like I said, getting used to how guys playing styles and where guys feel comfortable on the court. So I mean, it's been going well. I think that like I said, each day we're building chemistry. Each day I'm learning a little bit more about our team as a whole, and helping everybody understand that we are going to be a good team this year, and we are going to have a really good season. Better than they probably expect. But it started out pretty good so far. Like I said, we're 4-2 right now. Should be 5-1, but we,
Yeah.
we we lost that one game away.
But you'll get it back.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. We play everybody in the league three times, so all we got to do is beat everybody two out of three times, and we'll be in good position.
So I bet you the coach. What's the name of your coach?
His name is Coach I don't really know how to pronounce it. Terbian Gerki.
So Coach Gierke,
Yeah, yeah,
close enough, huh?
yeah. It was close. It was
Uh,
close.
well, I'm sure he's pretty stoked to have, and as you can see, I'm using the beach terminology since we
Mhm.
are grown up at the beach. He's
Right.
pretty stoked to have a 6'5" guard. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
can see
definitely.
over everything and that can dunk on everybody and so forth. So that's always that's like a stretch one.
Right, right. The Swiss Army knife.
That's
Just
a
kind
stretch
of,
stretch one.
yeah, trying to do everything out here.
And plus your basketball IQ, Travis, I've known you for a long time, so your basketball IQ is off the charts. Your
Mhm.
ability to want everybody to succeed around you is really, really well. So you definitely bring uh the X factor to a team because it's contagious.
Right.
So you definitely want to also stay positive and understand that not everybody has the IQ you have. And I think that that's a tough thing when you're balancing out when you're working with a team.
Right.
Being able to balance the idea that, you know, you want to say to a person you suck even though they're on your team, but at the
Mhm.
same time you understand they're on your team, so
Mhm.
you want to basically lift them up, not break them down kind of thing.
Right. Right.
So,
And that's been a big emphasis this year already. Like I said, when I first got here, it was a lot of getting used to different guys and different types of players, who come from different backgrounds, and my coach has been really, really on me hard about, just how to be a more constructive leader and how I talk to people. So that's been really one of my main focuses so far. Starting this year is just how to be the leader of, a group of guys who I have no idea who they are, where they come from. I'm having to figure all this stuff out and basically just start from scratch.
so now we're just going to we're towards the tail end of our conversation here. So
Mhm.
you've been now overseas for what, 3-4 years now, going on 4 years, right?
This is my third year. Yeah.
Third year, okay.
Mhm.
So let's talk about the pros and the cons of it.
Mhm.
So if you could just tell me, say, three pros and three cons of playing pro basketball overseas, what would it be?
Well, three pros for you. I mean, you get to travel. These are experiences. That people, money can't buy. Really, honestly, if you're buying a vacation, you're going to a country for 3 4 days. Maybe a week. I'm getting to live in all these different countries. Like I said, I've already been to 3 countries in 3 years. I feel like that's just the best part. Like that's just like the inexpensive part. Like you can't pay. You can't
It's
pay for this.
priceless, huh?
It's priceless. Like you can't put a price on this. Just
And you get
getting
to
there.
share it with your kids when you get to a point where you're
Yeah,
retired and you're hanging up the high tops kind of thing.
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Hopefully, have some real estate or some houses. In some of these countries that I end up liking. I'm still trying to pick my favorite countries, but I got some in mind. But yeah, like I said, the traveling, the experience, just to come over here and experience different cultures. Um,
Your mom's
another
German, isn't it? Your mom's German, isn't she?
No, she's Scottish, Irish.
Scottish. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
What's another one? I guess you got two more. Two pros. Another two more pros.
Me.
Yeah, so two more
Okay.
pros.
Yep. Another pro I would say would be the relationships that you build over here. Like I said, everybody over here is from a different background, from a different culture. They're not used to the things that you're used to. They didn't grow up necessarily how you grew up. Um, but it's fun to build the relationships with them. To see how everybody is different, but in the sense everybody's the same. Like everybody, there's unity like I have family, I have friends, best friends in these countries that I've lived in, that I'll talk to for the rest of my life now.
That fellowship we always talk about, right?
That fellowship, yeah, there you go. That's the word I was looking for. The fellowship is, I mean, it's unmatched. If I go back to Malta, I have friends and family there who I can go back and live with. I actually went there last year during Christmas, because I wasn't able to come back to the States during the Christmas break. So I went to Malta and spent Christmas with one of my good close like family friends. And that was really nice. And number three, um, I mean, you get to play basketball. This is the
You're
dream.
doing what you love,
Yeah, I'm
man.
doing what I love. I get to wake up every day. Morning workouts. We got gym access. You get a weight room. We got memberships to gyms and weight rooms, and I can work out whenever I want. Then in the evening, go back to practice and play some more. Wake up the next day, do it again.
I wish
Eh,
I could do that every single day. You don't
I
understand
mean,
that, Travis. You
yeah,
know how much I love playing. So
I know it. I'm telling you, it's definitely the life, and you have to really be built for it, though. It's not everything that it seems, but if you focus more so on the positives and the negatives, it really is a blessing to be doing, what we're doing over here for all the overseas basketball players that they get to play the game.
well, let's talk about now we're going to talk about the cons involved in it. So give me 3 cons.
Three cons. I got to pick my biggest ones. It's different for everybody. Language barrier isn't that bad. I can't say it's the language. Um, I mean,
Being away
maybe.
from me, Trav, is that it?
Yeah, I mean, I want to say number one is being away from your friends and family back at home. I mean,
Being away
you
from
know,
your pal Sal?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I miss my pal Sal. I miss my mom. I miss all my friends. Just it always feels, especially the first month or two. You're like so happy, you're so excited, like, oh man, I'm out of Jacksonville. I'm out of the country. I'm doing what I do, and then the Thanksgivings hit, the Christmases hit, all these holidays hit that you're so used to. You grow up spending with your family, and you're not necessarily spending them alone, but that you're not spending them with the people you love. And
Yeah.
that's how I grew up. Thanksgiving I'm with my family. Christmas I'm with my family. New Year's I'm with my family. So that's probably the hardest part would be being away from your family and friends and not getting to see them for months on end.
And
Um,
and basketball being a winter sport,
yeah, yeah,
you're away during all the holidays, and you know that
exactly.
because of my son who plays college basketball. He's at
Right.
he I for the last 3 years, we haven't seen him on Christmas or Thanksgiving,
Christmas,
so
right?
it just is something that you do appreciate more because of the
Hmm.
fact that when you do have an opportunity to do it, you kinda cherish it, so
Hmm.
that's
Hmm.
very important. So one more thing.
Uh, another con. Another con. There's so many. I mean, I guess you could say the weather. For me, I could say the weather.
Mhm.
This is only number two. I'll
Well,
go ahead.
this is no, that's good because being from Jacksonville, Florida, where sunny
Right,
Florida, you're
right. I'm the
going to where
Sunshine
it's
State.
the Sunshine State, and then you're going to play in Europe, especially in Finland and Sweden, where
Yeah.
the nights are super long. Then
Yep.
yeah, I guess that can be a con because you're so
Definitely.
used to hanging out at the beach and all that.
Yeah. So I would say, I mean, the weather, like you said, I'm used to the Sunshine State. The beaches, and I come over here to Finland and Sweden, and we're getting to that point now. I mean, once the end of October comes, I mean, from October to I want to say March, it's getting dark at 3, 4 o'clock every night, and the sun doesn't come up until, 9, 10 o'clock, and it really, you wouldn't think about it, but it really has a huge effect on, your mental health and your emotions and your energy, not seeing the sun, not getting your vitamin D. It's so many little differences that you'll notice in your personality
Does
that
that make the Swedish people cranky because they don't see a lot of sunlight, or are they good?
I think that they're used to it. I
Yeah.
think with their pale white skin, not nothing against them being white, but I think that their skin and them growing up here, obviously, that I feel like they're more used to it. I
Mm.
feel like it really impacts more so us Americans who come over here for the first time, and you're not used to it as much.
I don't know, man. A lot of people here, they're night owls, but they're always going to the club, but they don't get out till
Right.
6 AM, so you figure they'd be used to
Right. I mean, I,
that.
mean, I, I want to say I got used to it pretty. I dealt with it pretty well, honestly. I mean, it wasn't the biggest because, like you said, I'm a night owl. I stay up till 2 in the morning sometimes and wake up at 7, and I'm perfectly
Mhm.
fine. So
Yeah.
I can
I'm the
kind of
same way, Trav.
deal with it. Yeah. So
I need limited sleep, like 6 hours, and I'm good.
yeah, if I
5
get six, I'm
hours, and
definitely
sometimes
good.
I'm good too.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
It's the
Especially,
quality of sleep, not the quantity of sleep, I always say.
exactly, exactly. If I get a good solid 4, 5, 6 hours, I'm good.
Well, you're from the South, and, we got all kinds of good home comfort food. So
Yeah, yeah,
I know that going up there, everything's fish, right? In Sweden and Finland, a lot of it is
yeah.
fish oriented because everything's by bodies of water. So
Mhm.
tell me how the food is compared to here in the States.
The
It ain't
food's
fried
different.
chicken. It ain't collard
Nah,
greens. It
I
ain't
can't.
mac and
I can't
cheese.
tell you the last time I've had some fried chicken. Honestly, I mean, it's not the same. It's a lot more healthy though. You know, it is really, you know, they eat a lot more healthy out here. You know, so let's, for example, we have a cafeteria that we eat at. We eat at every day for lunch. And they have a whole vegan selection every single day. Like I don't feel like you wouldn't necessarily have that in the
Nah,
States.
nah,
And it
nah.
ain't like a salad bar. It's like vegan dishes, like traditional, like healthy vegan meals and stuff like that.
Yeah, I heard it. I heard if you go vegan, hair starts falling out from places you didn't know they would
I
fall out.
believe it. I believe it. But you have, you know, they have a lot of fish. I want to say 3 out of 4 days there's going to be a fish dish up there, and then you know they eat a lot of potatoes, a lot of rice,
Soups and stuff like that.
a lot of soups. Every day they have a soup. Um, but yeah, I mean it's just a different type of diet. You know, it's not bad. I want to say it's not bad. It's not you know the worst thing. It's not even. I wouldn't even say it's a con. It's just something if you're a foodie,
When in
yeah,
Rome, you eat as the
yeah,
Romans
exactly,
do. When in Sweden, you eat as
exactly,
the Swedish do. That's all it
e-
is.
exactly. You know, and if you're picky, it might affect you a little bit. But I'm not really a picky eater. You know,
Yeah.
I like to indulge myself in the culture and eat with like you said, eat like a sweet while I'm over here.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, I know the time difference is a little bit off, but
Yep, yep.
hey, man, is there any way that people can get in touch with you as far as Instagram, Twitter, or anything like that if they want to just give you a shout out?
Yeah, yeah. So my Instagram is tmac underscore gets buckets. Tmac spelled how it is in the bottom left screen here. Um, I don't have Snapchat. I have Facebook, Travis McConico,
You got
MC.
Twitter?
I don't I don't have Twitter. I have
So why don't you
TikTok.
give them
I
that
just made it.
Facebook again?
Just my first and last name, Travis McConico. I don't know if you
Trav,
guys know.
you're a little too old for TikTok. So, but go ahead and give
I
your
just I
TikTok.
just no, I just made it. I don't even know my name. I can't even tell you. I just made
Yeah.
one like last week. I felt childish for it.
Well, Trav, listen. As had to set up an Instagram account because I'm doing this, and so I'm
Mm,
kind of. But that's pretty much it. Instagram, and maybe I'll do a Twitter somewhere in the future. But right now, I'm just doing this right here in Jacksonville. We love one another. All right. And so, listen, guys, this is Chop It Up with your pal Sal. Be kind to each other, and God bless.
Thanks, I appreciate you for having me.